copy of that lawsuit. We will hold questions until we hear from our next witness, but before I ask Maria to speak, Commissioner Mary Bauer had indicated in her opening remarks that she is deeply involved in litigation with this, with Maria, and I'd ask Mary to give a little background before I call on Maria.
Sure. Justine goes by Justine, but she can tell her story better than I can. I just want to give a little background on the raid that happened at Kreider that kind of led to the story that she will tell you. In August of 2006, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents came to the Kreider poultry plant in Stillmore, Georgia. There were, we've been told, 42 agents associated with that raid. I think it was the last day of August that they showed up to conduct that raid, and they did arrest a relatively small number of workers at the plant in Stillmore, Georgia. But then what I guess was sort of more extraordinary in some ways was that these agents, instead of going home after the raid at the factory had taken place, fanned out into the community across 3 counties in rural Georgia to look for the Mexicans, to go door to door with a series of addresses looking for people who they thought might have had some connection to Kreider at some time or who simply might be in the country illegally. We have been involved in a lawsuit that was filed November 1st of 2006. Justine is the first named plaintiff in that case. Her mother, who's here, is also a plaintiff in that case. And we've been told through the course of that litigation there were no warrants involved in that raid. Immigration agents entered people's homes without permission, armed, and they didn't have a single warrant. We've also been told that those raids were authorized at the highest levels of Washington, that it is the administration itself that is making the decisions to tell agents to go door to door and to terrorize the community. And what we have seen is that these door-to-door raids have a particularly terrorizing effect on the community. The people who paid the price in Stillmore, Georgia were not only the people who were arrested, but people who happened to look foreign. We talked to families who lived in the woods for literally weeks, including U.S. citizen children who lived in the woods because they were afraid to go back to their own trailers because there had been multiple raids at trailer parks. We talked to advocates who said that they were reduced to bringing food to the side of the woods, to leave it there in the hopes that people would get that food and be able to eat. And we talked to a mother of a U.S. citizen child who was Latino, who said that her 6 or 7-year-old son told her after the raids, though their family had not themselves been directly affected, he said to her that he thought that he should sleep under the bed because he was brown and because he thought that Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents might come for him. So I turn this over to Justine to tell her story, but I think that we should see this in the larger context of kind of the effects that this has on a community.
Hi, my name is Marie Justine Manchin, but I go by Justine. I'm 17 years old and now a senior at Tatnall County High School in Reedsville, Georgia.
Pull the mic a little bit closer to you, Justine. Thank you.
That's okay, sorry. I'm originally from Texas, where I was born, but moved to Reedsville with my family when I was about 7. So I consider Reedsville my hometown. I've grown up in Reedsville, going to school and hanging out with friends. Everyone in my family was born in the United States. We're known as Mexican Americans. Never did I expect my family or me to go through the terrible experience we all went through in September of 2006. It all started because I was running late, and Mom went uptown to run an errand while I got dressed for school. I was in my bedroom when I first heard the noises outside. It sounded like a car door slamming, so I looked outside my window but didn't see anyone. So then I go to the living room, made sure the door was unlocked for Mom, but also made sure it was closed because if not, Mom would pitch a fit. I was home alone, so I walked back in my room and started to watch TV while I waited. Not too long after that, I heard male voices coming from inside my house. I was so scared, I had no idea what was going on. I got up and started walking down the hallway towards the living room to see who it was, and I started to hear the words, "Police, illegals." It seems as if those words still ring in my head today, giving me the fear of them busting in my home like I was doing something wrong. I walked around the corner with my heart just about to bust out my chest, and I saw a tall man reach toward his gun and look straight at me. Wow, it felt as if I'd be hurt by some stranger in my home. I saw the rest of the group of law enforcement agents standing in the living room, blocking the front door. But the only thing on my mind then was a tall man with his hand on his gun. My heart just dropped. Now realizing I was there alone with strangers in my home without my mom or anyone I need. I didn't know what was about to happen. It just about brings tears to my eyes to think, what if my little sister was there? What if she had seen this or felt what I felt? I was so scared. But just thinking about my baby sister makes me so angry. I looked around and there were about 4 or 5 men in my home, and they were coming up the stairs. They began to ask me questions. I started to feel closed in, like I couldn't say no or not answer them because they were blocking the front door, and it was just me and them. They were asking if there were anyone else in the house, and if my mom had worked at Crowder Poultry, and why she had quit. Also, they asked if my mom was a Mexican, and if she had papers or a green card. I felt so awful and low that they were asking me all these questions just because I'm Mexican. At times, I didn't want to be Mexican because of what we go through and how people look at us different and treat us and assume we're all illegal because of our brown hair and eyes. But just going through all of this made me see how strong Mexicans can be, and I wouldn't change that for anything. I'm proud to be Mexican. I answered all their questions, telling them Mom didn't need a green card and that she was born in Florida. Finally, I got the courage to ask them why they were in my home. One of the agents just said they were looking for illegals. They began to walk outside, and I heard them telling each other they should go to a gas station because they find a lot of Mexicans there. It's just so sad to me, and it hurts a lot to be targeted just because we are Mexicans. Finally, I asked if they were leaving, and they said they'd be in the area looking for the rest of them. I walked outside, they were everywhere. Luckily, they all got in the cars and started to drive off. About that time, my mom pulled up, and I ran to her and started crying, telling her what had just happened. I was so scared. I had just gone through something so terrible that never in my life I'll forget. I carry that fear with me every day, wondering when they'll come back. Something has to be done to stop them from hurting innocent people. I never want to see my little sister go through that, never to have to carry some fear like yeah. But
Okay, thanks.
Did the officers apologize?
no.
Under his congressman, the congressman said this morning that we're a country of the rule of law, and we have laws that protect the workers' rights, and obviously the workers' rights were being violated.
Experience has been very hard for you and to go public with your story, but I want to assure you that your story is going to help make a difference for all what you think is wrong and what happened was wrong, but your story is going to help make a difference, and I just want to thank you very, very much for your courage.